Hey everyone. Thanks so much for joining. We're just going to give everybody a few seconds to settle in. Hope all of you guys can hear me and everybody else later, okay? Um, and yeah, while everybody's getting settled in, feel free to head over into the chat. You can find that at the bottom of your Zoom window and let us know where you're tuning in from. I myself am based in Toronto, Canada. So yeah, let us know where you're tuning in from. Always cool to see where everybody's joining from.
Yeah.
And again, if you're just joining, we're just going to give us a few moments, typically like a minute or two, for everybody to get settled in, get their coffee or tea. It's going to be a interesting session today with some cool people to talk to. Berlin, Germany, for a company in Virginia, USA. Okay, Des Moines, Iowa. Oh, hey, Will. All right, yeah. Let us know where you're tuning in from, guys. Just post it in the chat. Pakistan, very cool. New York City.
New York, New York.
That's where you're based, right, Sebastian? No, are you in New
I'm
York?
actually, no, I'm actually, I mean, I spent a lot of time in New York, but I'm actually right outside Washington, D.C., in a town called
Uh-huh.
Crofton, Maryland. Yeah.
Okay, LA, Utah, as well. Sweet. Good stuff. Okay. So we've quite a few people that have joined already. I'll give it another like 20, 30 seconds and then we'll go from there. Does that sound all right, guys?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Yeah, good stuff. All right. Good, Brooke. Hey, Marc-André. Welcome. All right, quite a few familiar faces in here already. That's super cool. New York again. Sweet. I see lots of folks from New York. Interesting. San Diego as well. All right. Yeah, I think let's get started. Yeah, welcome. Hey, everybody, and welcome to our first expert session of this year. I think it's the first one we're doing in 2026. This one's titled Freelancers, How to Find, Attract, and Retain Them. My name is Tim. I'm the operations manager and go-to-market manager for Rentman in North America. I'm based here in Toronto, Canada. And I'll be your host today together with Pravalika, who you can see. In my case, it's below me. I don't know how it's for everybody else. I'll let her introduce herself in a moment. So yeah, we'll be hosting this session today. We also have some cool guests. But yeah, I think for now I'll just let Pravalika introduce herself. So Prav, tell us a little bit more about who you are.
Hello. I'm Pravalika, but Prav for short, if that's too much. I'm an account executive here at Rentman, and I handle sales here in North America. I've already spoken to quite a few of you, so if you don't know me, I'm Prav. And if you're ever in touch with Rentman, you'll hear from me at some point.
Good stuff. And then I'm going to hand it over to Sebastian. Sebastian, who are you for the people that don't know you?
What's going on? I'm Sebastian May. I'm with MayCo, based here in Crofton, Maryland. I'm the COO. MayCo does a little bit of everything. We do a little bit of labor staffing, some dry rentals, gear sales, as well as training up and down the East Coast from Boston, New York, DC, Atlanta, Orlando, Miami, and then a little bit in Chicago as well.
Good stuff. So yeah, we're going to have a lot of like labor questions and labor talk today. So I think you're a great person to talk to about this. You might have some really cool insights to share.
Yeah, I definitely deal with it on a regular basis.
Yeah, we've known Sebastian for a while. Have had good conversations with him, and I think we figured that with that connection, we'd be sharing a little bit of information with all of you guys today as well. Um, so one thing that I quickly want to remind everybody of, just some housekeeping. We'd really love for all of the attendees, like you guys joining us today, to add any ideas or questions in the chat throughout the session. I really like to make this I like to compare it to like a Twitch stream. I spend too much time on there. Just post your ideas and whatever you have into the chat. We'll be looking at that. We also have PJ joining, who will be answering a lot of those in writing. And yeah, we'll also have a little Q&A at the end of it. But I think the best place to really ask us questions is in that chat. So just keep on adding your ideas, your own impressions in there, and we'll go from there. And it's nicely interactive that way. Okay, let's get started. So what is today's session about? Well, I believe, as the title already says, there has been a lot of talk over the last, like, I want to say, especially 5, 6 years about the topic of like freelancers, contractors, how, post-pandemic shortages have affected the labor market in North America, how, also expectations have shifted from their end and from, the employer's end. And it has really become a top tier challenge from what we can see. We do an industry report every year. It has increased in importance for every company that we've interviewed pretty much. And yeah, we have the impression that to really grow and to really excel at freelancer management, companies must move a lot of times beyond what full-time staff can handle. So yeah, we figured it's worth a session. Figured we have some cool people to talk to about this. And that's why we're having a session about it today. And yeah, before we get into practicals, is there any sort of, maybe this is a question for you, Sebastian, is there a sort of memorable moment, any memorable conversation that you've had recently when it comes to the topic of freelancers? Anything that's stuck out to you?
I mean, we talk about it like in the office pretty regularly. Freelance talent, it's a bit, strange, right? Because these people have like a sense of freedom a little bit, right? They do things by their own standards and have their own like kind of rules and regulations. And it's kind of just giving them the tools and the opportunities to have those freedoms is really like kind of what it boils down to. I think that's really kind of like what we kind of hone in on is just making sure that everybody is comfortable and, just appreciating kind of where they come from in the industry as well.
Gotcha. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Nice little icebreaker here to get started. And again, guys, if you have any sort of thoughts on that as well, if you agree or disagree with Sebastian or any of us, then let us know in the chat. That's that's what we're here for. It's not just us talking at you; it's us having a conversation with you guys.
Yeah, please engage.
Yeah. Okay. And then I think, Prav, I'll maybe hand it over to you first.
Yes.
And let us maybe dive into this topic a little bit further. Okay.
Yes. So the first topic that I have here today is we're often hearing complaints that freelancers, there are no good freelancers left anymore. So, Sebastian, is that really true, or are we just not looking in the right places? Could you maybe
No.
help us understand the market a little bit more, especially since the pandemic?
Yeah, I mean, since the pandemic, I could definitely see there was a lot of people that did leave the industry, but I also think it was a great time for opportunity to kind of shift it and bring back some standards that might have got lost along the way. So like I come from like lineage. My father has been in the industry for 40 plus years. His father got him into it, who his father also got into it. So we've been doing this for a long time and have got to see kind of like the levels of shifting. I feel like during like pre-pandemic, people got a little comfortable and like standards did start getting to lost. And then after that happened, a lot of people left, but we then had the opportunity to kind of mold people and show them like, hey, these are like the standards, bring people from other opportunities that might have lost their jobs from elsewhere and kind of bring them into the industry and gain them back that way. We looked at it as an opportunity, not a disadvantage, and really got to help set that standard and bring back like the good in AV again.
Gotcha. Okay. So for you guys, it was at the same time, while it was like it became quite a complex situation afterwards because of shortage, like it also allowed you to change things up a little bit and for the
Yeah.
better from what I'm hearing.
Of course, yeah. And I mean, the game did change a little bit too. I mean, obviously things got more hybrid. We had to kind of dip into other tools and other education methods to kind of still get our messages across. Because, we view AV as like it's incredibly important. I mean, we give people a platform to kind of get their messages across, whether that's a sales meeting, whether that's a doctor's
Mm.
convention, or even just like a party, like, a gala. There's a lot of opportunity there, and we just had to think of new creative ways to still get those messages out to the masses and to the public, and yeah,
Mhm.
kind of work from there.
Gotcha.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. What would you say in terms of freelancer expectations? How has that changed over the time?
So every freelancer has different expectations. We usually have like a general standard of like a code of conduct and like kind of our means of where we like to stay in between. We also respect other people that do have like special, whether it's special billing methods, whether they work 8-hour days or 10-hour days, or some people start, double time after 12 hours or something like that. It's just listening to them and like, we have to all work together at the end of the day. There's one goal, and that's to get the job done to the best possible way possible, and then not let the client see the chaos that's behind the, behind the curtains. So it's really just kind of working together and I always say that people try to create perfection in an imperfect world. It's really just being flexible is what you need to be, and just finding the best methods for everybody individually and kind of, yeah, working together to
Mm,
find that.
gotcha. Would be cool to hear how you guys in the chat are thinking about this. Is that something that you guys can relate to? Working with like a lot of freelancers and contractors out there, is that, something you see in your own day to day? Let us know. Um, how would you say, have you seen a shift in, because this is something that we've come across on some forums and also like with some of the reports that we create every year, that it a lot of times less about the paycheck these days, but like an increased focus on work-life balance, like better communication, that those have increased in terms of priorities.
Yeah, I think that's a valid thing to say. It's really always going to be hard to find that balance, right? Just because the industry does have certain busy seasons, and it feels like a whole bulk of work always comes over like a smaller scheduled period. So you're kind of I mentally prepared myself like from the months of pretty much March to like June, and then from September to about early December, where I'm like, I'm fully committed. I don't, want to make too many plans because I know there's going to be a lot of things that are going to be draining me.
Mm,
It's, kind of just mentally setting yourself up for that. And people are different from all across. Some people prioritize their freedoms and want to, be home at a certain hour of the day or not take work on weekends so they can do things. And that's totally okay. Everybody needs to find their balance in different ways.
gotcha. But then it's about like what you said earlier, the flexibility also of accepting that, and then
Yeah.
like creating in some way an environment that you know
Does preach that,
that
Chris. That ideology of like freedom, and because at the end of the day, we don't want to just work, 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 work. We're working towards something, and we want to live life a little bit too. So it's just, if you could just mentally prepare yourself to find those balance, you're winning.
gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Did I answer that correctly?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's necessarily a correct answer, and I think you're a bit more of the pro than we are in this. So I
That's
feel like
right.
you know better than if you answered it correctly than I do. But I do think it fits with like what we've seen as well. So it's nice to hear that we're not too far away when we speak to our users. So
Totally.
thanks for that. Um, Maybe we can focus a little bit on regional differences. Prav, maybe you want to dig a little bit deeper into that.
Yeah. So when it comes to regional differences, how different is it when you hire freelancers in maybe tier one cities when compared to tier two and tier three cities? Is that a little different? Do you see a major difference in the way you hire them as well?
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. Obviously, there is going to be differences in the scope of work in bigger markets. If you're in New York City, it's not really comparable to like Atlanta, which is still a busy town, but the people do work differently. Um, I would say that there's a lot of good people right out there, and if we can share our standards and our like the way that we kind of approach the business a little bit, and it aligns with the way that these freelancers are going about it, that's pretty good. Um, Maybe just something along the lines of the equipment that's being used as well. Some people,
Hmm.
that there might be bigger scale video switchers that they need to be in bigger markets where you're not going to see that too much in smaller markets. It could just be different like workflows and scopes of the work, but overall, I feel like if we could just control like the mental, I feel like 80% of the business is all things that are within our control, just showing up on time, showing up with good attitudes, being a team player and working, alongside others well. That is about the majority of the business. And then we can start getting into the technical stuff that can really like elevate you to next levels. But if we could control just the mentality of everything, I feel like a lot across markets, it's similar. There might be different billing practices or different like kind
Hmm.
of industry standards. Obviously, like rates are a little bit different, like across, different markets because cost of living varies, from place to place.
Yeah,
Um, from the yeah, so from like I guess like from the workflow end, there might be a little bit differences, but from the actual like mindset, I feel like they're all at least aligned with our freelancers and our contractors that we use.
gotcha. Yeah, so it's really like these major points that you have said, like showing up on time, having the right mindset, being willing to put in the work, all of
Yeah,
those kind of things, and you see that across the board. If
yeah.
you have those standards that you set for yourself.
I really think too. There might be some differences in like the venues that they're going to. Obviously, smaller tier markets might have might have to do more street loads. They might not have like loading docks to like properly like do workflows that way. That could be a little bit of a difference as well, I think.
Sure.
So it's
Yeah.
really just the places that you're going to as well.
All right. Yeah, it would be nice to hear. We have a lot of people like tuning in from so many different places globally. Like, how do you guys feel about this topic? Let us know if you see any sort of like major differentiations between, bigger metro areas and then maybe working in a more rural area.
Yeah.
Let us know.
And I can also say too, like I'm speaking from the like United States standpoint as well. Obviously, I think like workflows in Europe might be a little bit different than we deal with over here, and I haven't really worked too much overseas, so might not be
Yep.
able to speak too well to that aspect. But when we do have markets like New York and Miami and Atlanta and Chicago, like they are like kind of different, but also similar at the same time.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I think that was a nice little look at the situation that we're in right now. Again, if you guys have any ideas on like what else might be a topic, put us in the chat. I think we might want to move on to something else now, and I think we want to focus a little bit on. So we talked about like where things are at right now, maybe how things have shifted, some differences between metro areas. What I want to ask is, when it comes to actually finding good labor, finding freelancers, contractors, um, what actually works these days? Because I have the feeling, having conversations with people at Infocom, LDI, talking to you guys from time to time, that sourcing or like going to events like Tom Stimson's Jumpstart, which has been super insightful. Um, I have the feeling that sourcing can oftentimes still feel like a shot in the dark.
Yeah.
So you're trying to maybe find some specialist in a new city at 2 a.m. How do you guys typically, identify those specialists that you want to work with that can walk into a ballroom, check out like your show book or whatever information you share with them and then execute with little hand holding?
Yeah, that's always going to be a tricky thing, right? So what we try to do is obviously, like I said, coming from the lineage and my father being in the industry for so long, and then me being in the industry now for almost 15 years, I've built a lot of relationships along the way, as has my brother, as has my father, as has other people that we brought in. So we've really got to kind of grow it that way and meet other people in the industry. We still have like an onboarding process that even if you do like get a referral from somebody else, we like to talk to you and just kind of really gauge your knowledge because some people at the end of the day they will like overqualify themselves. Um, I think that really just having that conversation before and then also before them going on jobs, just making sure that they have all the tools, they have any additional information they might have, like set them up for success is really, really important. I feel like that goes a long way with a lot of freelancers. There's a lot of good people over there that might just shut down just because it's a little like kind of sticky, it doesn't really smell that right. And
Mm,
making sure you're setting all your freelancers and contractors up for success, making sure everybody knows where to meet in the morning, giving them the point of contact. If you can give them blueprints or other show flows so that they know what they're walking into. As much information as you could possibly give them, give it to them. So then they're set up for success to run and gun.
gotcha. Okay. So sharing as much information in a
Yeah.
extremely
Yeah.
well structured way in advance.
Also,
Um,
just being kind of transparent too, and just kind of just we have to talk freely. We don't want to like mince our words, or just I don't want you being scared to ask me things, or because they think that this is something that I should know, and I don't want to seem like I don't know it. Like let's be transparent.
mm,
Let's just be open with each other. We're all here to learn and get the job done. Like I said, so really just kind of being an open playbook for them.
how do you like, so you're talking about like being like enabling them to be super transparent and talking to you. What are maybe some things that you do to create that kind of culture at MayCo? If you could give me some examples.
Um, that is a difficult question. I guess just just I feel like we have built a nice reputation where people do hear about us. They see our guys on jobs or our guys and girls. I don't want to um, but they see that they're having fun and they see that they really enjoy like who they're working for, and that kind of just gets people like that gets them going and be like, hey, this is a company that I wouldn't mind working for. Obviously, paying your people in like a good time frame always helps, like that.
Mhm.
That's a big thing. And, just because there is some people that still they'll do net 90s, which is absolutely insane to think about waiting like 3 months as a contractor to get paid by people is nuts in today's society. Um, so just, yeah, I feel like just creating a culture inside of us that just really translates to our people, which translates to the masses and other, other people on job sites as well.
Yeah, understood. Yeah, we can see from Kyle here saying, thorough communication and on-site support have been key to success. So
Yeah,
pretty much in line with what
I
you're saying.
totally agree.
Yeah, and Steffi is asking, it's a very German name, how do you evaluate freelancers beyond their resume? Any sort of vetting that you do on skills, reliability, and maybe even cultural fit?
Yeah, I mean, just because we have been in the industry for so long, it's kind of like when you have those conversations with people and you're going through, let's say it's an A1, right? They say they're an
Hmm.
audio engineer, just going through some other mixers or something like that that might like they resonate with them or seeing what they're comfortable operating on, then maybe talking about like comms and just knowing the questions to ask is very, very important. You got to know what we're talking about too at the end of the day. And if you could just probably vet them and see how they answer those questions, it really is like a telltale of like where they're at in the industry. And some people, like I said, they'll overqualify themselves, and you can kind of see that where they have that basis ready to go, and they might be ready for that next step, and they think that hey, let me see if I can do it. Vetting them that way is probably the most important to me. And we have a decent
Hmm.
onboarding team here that has various knowledge. They've been on many, many different types of jobs, whether it's broadcast, whether it's live events, whether it's conventions, travel jobs, local, they know the industry really, really well. So they can just properly gauge it from there. And also too, like if you're not at that opportunity, we like to uplift and just like we want to educate and create a better standard for the industry as a whole. So like they might not be there yet, but how can we take them there? And that's really the next questions that we kind of have and see what they, gauge it from there. But it
Gotcha.
usually starts with a
Cool
phone call
instance.
though for our onboarding process where we can just vet them from there. Like for
Yeah, and so
everybody.
that might be like the first like high level like
Yeah.
screening call, and then you basically go from there. If you feel like this is worth like continuing the conversation, then it moves over to some other folks that, as you said, have been in the industry for a while.
And then we also have just because of those relationships. I mean, there is some people where they're like, I've trusted them. I worked alongside them for years, so I trust their word. They're like, hey, this person is very good. You should get them on your roster for like these positions. It's kind of
Mm.
less of a an onboarding thing because I trust these people. They've worked alongside them as well, and just their reputation kind of speaks for itself. And yeah, go from there.
No. So it's a lot of, word of
Word
mouth,
of
which is
mouth.
like a huge thing that we see
Yeah,
anyways, and
word of mouth too.
referral based loops.
There is other like recruiting processes that you can go through. I think there's some really good schools like we've done some stuff with Full Sail down in Orlando. We've gone to career fairs down there. It's a
Okay.
great educational system for young people, and then they just also don't. When people go to Full Sail, they think that they'll be in like studios or they'll be doing like shooting camera for the Super Bowl and things like that. And it's nice to show them that there are other avenues in this industry for you to take those talents to. Um, SAE is another one, School of Audio
Oh,
Engineering,
yeah.
which is in it's running. I think it's in Jersey or if it's in New York. I'm not sure what city it's in.
Yeah, they have a bunch
That's
of
also
locations. We actually
yeah,
work with some of them, which is very cool.
yeah.
So we have some
And
users among them as well. Yeah.
I like the schools as well too because that really helps us like mold an individual as opposed to like don't get me wrong, like there's a lot of people who've been working in the industry and that's always going to be a valuable thing. But if like those we could take those younger people that have like the smarts and wants to get into the industry and kind of
Mm.
show them the right way to kind of do things, that's also very, very beneficial too. So we'll work alongside a couple of those schools.
Yeah. 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 I'm just like looking at the chat here. I don't know if you can see it too. You can probably see it too, Sebastian, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have Adam in here asking what platforms or events do you guys do to attract new and more freelancers? They've done social media posts, open houses, but seem to get low interaction.
Yeah, I mean, what I would suggest maybe reaching out to some of your freelancers already, like that you like working with. I'd be like, they usually have people that they like working with, and their visions usually aligned with, what you're already doing. So word of mouth and just building off of the sphere of people that you already have is incredibly important, I think. Social medias are great. Open houses are great too. You just never know really what you're getting. I've personally never been like a person that liked recruiting people via social media, just because people do, kind of they overqualify themselves a lot on it too. And it's just I love it, but I feel like the other methods of just kind of doing it by the referral, word of mouth, being out in the industry too. That's
Mm.
another thing is I might be the COO of MayCo, but I still go out to job sites where the people still see me there, and that means a lot to them too. You see a
Yeah.
lot of other people working alongside them, and I really think that I wouldn't look at the platform so much. I would look at your sphere of people and kind of just try to base it off that, and go from there.
Yeah. Yeah. Nancy is saying that as well. That people by calling their references or finding people that have worked alongside them. And yeah, the best platform, she's saying, for finding new freelancers is the current bench of freelancers. So
Yeah,
maybe deepening that bench and then like going through that is like what you really want to go for.
your sphere is always going to be your best ally. So just, yeah, as long as you have good people around you, just build off that. Yeah.
Yeah. Jeff is saying the same thing. Good techs, no good techs. Most of our roster has been built up over the last 1 to 2 years by asking good techs to send us names of other good techs. And yeah, I remember Tom Stimson mentioning at one of the events that we go to, like, good resources. You guys should check them out.
Yeah.
That he was also saying, like, ask freelancers who's better than them, and then you will know who they might be referring to.
I actually really enjoyed that too, because the people that will are they have enough, integrity to kind of be like, hey, this person is better than me, or people that I like working with too. They don't I hate people that have this job security method where they want to retain everything and think that them referring these people is going to make them lose work. I feel like if you really just trust your capabilities and your work ethic, like, work will come from it. If you focus on just like serving the people around you, that's massive.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree with that.
Cool. Good stuff. Awesome insights. Thank you, Sebastian, already. And thanks everybody for engaging in the chat. Thanks, Nancy. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, Hugo. Thanks, Adam, and Steffi. Appreciate all the insights, and Kyle as well. I think, yeah, I'm just going through my notes here if there's anything else we want to cover in this area, but I think this is kind of in line what we've heard a lot as well. Maybe moving on in some areas on the attraction and retention of talent. Prav, I think we have some questions on this end as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we've already spoken about this a little bit in terms of culture and all of the small stuff that we do in terms of showing up, and even if you're the CEO, you show up to jobs and you show them, hey, that you're there. What other things make you stand out amongst the freelancers and makes you the company that they actually want to work with?
I think uplifting your people is incredibly important. Like at MayCo, we offer various training opportunities for people, even from people who haven't been in the industry at all, like just basic stagehand stuff where you learn the basics. You learn how to take down cables, set up drape, differentiating different cables. And then when they're past that stagehand level, take them to like more of a breakout level class where you start getting into some more like minimalistic things. But I think trainings is incredibly important because I want you to be wherever you want to be. If you want to push boxes for the rest of your life, that's cool. I'll give you all the tools to do that. But if you want to move up in the industry and make this like a really, really big career for you, I want to give you those tools as well. So like uplifting and educating is incredibly important for us. I think that goes a long way, and people recognize that and really, really value it. So that's incredibly helpful.
Yeah, sure. And I think you guys also have you have a dedicated training program at MayCo, from what I understand, correct?
Yeah, we do. So we have some distribution deals with some other video, Modulo Pi and an Analog Way, where we offer actual certifications on those products. But then we also have just internal trainings, and some of it's nice too because we can sculpt it more around the person that's coming to the class and really just kind of gauge it around there too. Sometimes too, when we have like classes of 4, we'll also do things like we'll do like a brief little setup where they have to work as a team and kind of set it up, and we'll throw like little kind of wrenches in there and like loopholes where like a broken converter or like a cable that's not working, and they have to work amongst each other to kind of figure things out too, which is helpful. So you're learning about like what's going wrong and then working as a team to figuring it out is really helpful, and creating scenarios like that has been really, really beneficial. So I think that really does. And then also like on top of it, obviously just being like a good company, taking care of your people, going to fight for them at the end of the day, making sure that they're getting everything they need, whether that's, breaking people on time, making sure lunches are all sorted out, paying people, just doing the things that you're supposed to do is really, really important.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. I mean, some of it seems like common sense. Let's put it that way. But I don't necessarily think that it's like, the priority for quite a few companies out there. And then you might be asking yourself, why is it not working as expected?
Yeah. It seems silly. Like it's amazing what happens when you just treat human beings like human beings and give them like tools to actually succeed in life. Like that's really, it goes a long way for people. And then being transparent and just open too is another thing. So that's something that we we really value over here.
Gotcha. Good stuff.
Mark has a question here that he put in the chat. He wants to know how you're negotiating or evaluating a salary for a freelancer depending on their knowledge or experience, or do you just impose like an hourly rate on them and say this is what we offer?
So at MayCo we usually do for tech positions, it's just a full 10-hour day for the job. I usually let people come to me with their rates because I like offering them the opportunity to properly value themselves and see where they're at. And then kind of gauging it from there. Honestly, if you kind of go to them, most of the time that I've at least seen, people undervalue themselves. If you just go in thinking that they're going to be this, I like asking them like where they're at and where they see themselves. And doing it that way has been incredibly beneficial for us. Um,
Mm.
there's not really like a set fee. Obviously, there is like we all have rates of what we're billing at the end of the day for positions. As long as they really kind of just stay under it, there's times when there might be positions where the people like I break even on the position and I don't care because I know that that's going to do, I'm putting the right person in the right seat for my client at the end of the day. So it sounds crazy, but I really, really don't look at like profit margins or any type of really margins on it. I really just want to give the best product. And if you focus on just giving that, like more business just comes from it.
Right. So focusing very much like on not necessarily like making, money on every single position when it comes to labor, but also looking at it from an investment perspective and saying, okay, if I invest this and make sure that the client is happy, then, the
You're not really
downstream effects.
in the business to lose money, right? Like that's not the goal, but like it all comes back full swing in my opinion. Um, yeah, just kind of giving them the right opportunities from there. I hope I answered that correctly. Yeah.
We-
Again, I don't think there's
Yeah.
a right way. I'm not going to
Yeah.
scold
Well,
you
I
on.
hope Marc Andre got something out of it, I should say.
He's saying thank you, so I think we're
Yeah.
good here.
Awesome stuff. Yeah.
Well, Steffi also has another question, and she's asking how many freelancers does MayCo work with on an average?
So in our system, we have about 1,300 freelancers up and down the East Coast in Chicago that we have in our roster. I would say like on an active basis, probably around like 600, I would say.
Hmm.
Comfortably that are like in a regular rotation. They've worked at least like 5 to 6 jobs with us this year. And then obviously there is like big jobs where they're like, hey, we need 100 people. So we have to really dig deep and, go into utilize all of our freelancers from there. But I would say in like active rotations, probably between 600 around that range across
Gotcha.
all of our markets as well. That's just, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay. Um, so you did also mention that payment speed is an important thing. So you did
Absolutely.
mention that like some companies still do net 90, which is
Insane.
fairly insane based on what you guys are saying. So you would say that's an important point. I guess like the training, respect, and culture. How about like best practices for sharing information, in advance? Like what does that look like? How do you guys make sure that people feel like they're educated enough about like an upcoming gig?
Right. So, I mean, obviously, like, I'm sure we all use different tools for our scheduling apps, and you can send a lot of documents through there. I know Rentman has access to send documents and share things with your people via that way. I also like I'm a big either texter or caller. Like I like just making sure if there's something there's a lot going on, I like talking through the process because so they might just get overwhelmed by what they're reading, and I kind of want to just give them an ease of mind of like what it actually is, what's actually expected from them from there. um Being transparent and just communicating with your people goes a long way, and just it gives them kind of like like a peace of mind where they can just go to the job. They're like, oh, okay, this is what's expected of me. There might be these things that get thrown at me during this process, but I have these tools for that. So yeah,
Mm,
just being there for them and just being like communicating. Sometimes I don't over communication is not the worst thing sometimes.
gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Just sharing all the documents that that your client might need, making sure you're asking the right questions to your client who's actually doing the job, and getting
yeah.
all that stuff is important too. That's what we're supposed to do. So yeah,
Yeah. So make sure that information flows from maybe your client. So that you have all the information that you need from your client, and then making sure that that also reaches whatever software you're using for that. Could be Rentman, could be something else.
yeah,
But then also, just to be sure, follow up with those calls and texts however you want to, because there's dedicated software for that, but maybe that little personal conversation, especially with maybe an on-site lead, can make that real difference.
yeah. It goes a long way when you send messages out. It's going to like the whole bulk, right? I mean, you can individualize it, but I just think just texting them is just much easier, or just giving them a phone call and just talking to person to person it makes them open up a little bit more too, where they're not like as reserved or like worried or anything like that. They feel more comfortable walking in and goes a long way.
Gotcha. Yeah, we have Jeff here with some insights. I'm just gonna like see what he said here. We have our techs set their rates, but I'm also honest with them if I feel like it's too high.
Yep.
Telling them something like, okay, just to be honest, you won't get many calls from us with that rate. It's higher than the majority of our other techs and won't fit most of our event budget. He's saying he's only had to do that a few times, and each time I've said it, the person comes back to me with a slightly lower rate, more in line with budgets. He's saying he respects everyone's rate, and but he also tries to be transparent in return.
No, Jeff, I totally agree with that too. That's something along the lines. But there is people that come and be like, hey, I can't get you on this job, but we'll keep you in mind for future things. For this, hopefully, you can come down to here for me, and it does go out that way too. But you being honest with them is incredibly important. Just letting them know too.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Cool. Good conversation for now. Like, yeah. Thanks, Jeff. And again, encouraging everybody to post their ideas and feedback into the chat as well. Kel was saying, love the way you go about taking care of your clients and employees, Sebastian. So some positive feedback for you guys here.
Thank you.
Maybe the next question. What is Thomas saying here, Prav?
So he's asking how you keep your attendance during an event. So do you like have a paper they sign in when they clock in? What do you do in terms of maintaining attendance?
Yeah, we usually, do our scheduling app that keeps it pretty simple, and then we have crew leads on every single job that take notes of when people come in and when they leave, and get the proper hours that way too. We do sign in sheets usually for bigger jobs, but if it's a smaller one, we might just have the crew lead just keep an eye on everything and make sure that it is. But we like just making sure that we have somebody that we fully trust on the job at all times to really track these things. And I think that's the best way that we do it so far. Sign-in sheets make a lot of sense too, and I know those are incredibly beneficial too. But yeah, we do that for like bigger jobs.
Gotcha.
Okay. Yeah, and we just really trust our guys. Our crew leads, they put a lot of work in with us, so yeah, they know the standards and they know the procedures that we have to keep up to.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. Hope that answers the question though, Thomas. Good. What's next? What else can we?
So, let's talk a little bit about maybe retention of freelancers. Do you ever have to do like post-event feedback, and do you see that helping with freelancers and like giving them honest feedback after an event's over?
Yeah, to be fair too, we do it with like positive remarks. Well, if we get positive stuff from the clients, we definitely give the guys the praise of what they did. But yeah, I think post-event feedback is incredibly important. Sometimes we'll do it with our clients on big shows where we just want to talk to them and see their perspective. Just always constantly trying to better the practice a little bit, making sure that we're all on the same page and what's going to be expected on the next job. But then just when we take it to the freelancers, just addressing things that need to be addressed, seeing how we could have maybe gone about things differently for the next time. And then if it's good things, just giving them the praise and the flowers that they deserve. Everybody loves to, when we get positive remarks, that's our goal, is to, create an atmosphere where, they have that positivity, that love, and shower them with it.
Makes sense. We have a question here in the chat. Don wants to know if you ever sign work agreements, because he's had to deal with freelancers agreeing to gigs and then backing out because they got a higher paying gig.
Yeah, I hate that. I hate when people do that. So we usually don't do it per job. We have like a general subcontractor agreement that when you come on to MayCo to do it, obviously the industry is going to be the industry. There's always going to be those people that might jump ship. I actually just had a job where one of my guys, I had him booked. It was a 1-day job, but then he got booked for a 2-week gig out of town. So obviously, like 2 weeks to 1 day, it's hard to judge that. It's also respecting that people do have those freedoms. You remember these things. And there's, nothing that you can really do. People are going to be people. I was always brought from the mentality that, you dance with the person that brought you to the ball. So if you agree to like something, you honor that. That's something that my dad taught me too. Even if you do lose out on work opportunities, I think you being a loyal person is always going to overshadow just taking it because of the money. Nothing that I've ever really done has been money driven. Like it's money is great and obviously we need it too, but this is something like this is the business and this is what we're expected to do. And I'm not going to put somebody else in a rough situation because I got the opportunity to make, a couple hundred extra bucks or get an extra day or two at work. Does not make sense to me. So unfortunately, it's something that's going to forever be in the industry because that's just how people work. Um, but if we could just change those standards and just, take notes of those people, just be like, hey, I remember you did this, so now I'm going to call somebody else for that next job after that.
Mm. So actions also have consequences in some way, and especially if it like repeats itself multiple times, then they might not be on the first call list.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I said, there's like certain circumstances if you're open, there's enough time frame to it. I also love if you come to me with like, hey, I got this opportunity, I'm going to take it, but I have this other tech that I work alongside that I think would be a good fit for this position. That helps out a long way too, because at least like they're replacing themselves, and it might not be the person you asked about, but it also
Mm.
gives you the opportunity to add more text to your roster, and at least they're making an effort and they recognize like what they're doing. There's also things that come up in people's lives, and you can't really control it too much, so.
Yeah, yeah. And I think a lot of it also comes back down to like creating that initial respect and good relationship with those people so that if they maybe jump on something else, there might be a decent reason, or they might be also trying to replace themselves with somebody else that they know. And I guess you get to that in the first place by building a good relationship and taking care of them.
Yeah. Just being a person that people want to do business with.
Yeah,
Really
yeah.
important.
You did mention something earlier about like, showering them with love in some way if
Yeah.
they've done a good job. And I really like that.
Yeah.
This might be something super specific, but are there any sort of like other caring gestures that you guys employ at MayCo? Could be, thank you notes, maybe a little gift card or something, something that really makes freelancers go like wanting to go that extra mile, or is that, you know,
We haven't I might go out and buy them lunch on the job site or something like that, or we'll bring them in and offer them other opportunities. We haven't ever sent like a gift card or like flowers or anything like that. Yeah, I would say just, doing something for them and just like giving them other opportunities to come in, even if it's like
mm,
sometimes I've had people where I'm like, hey, you can bill a little bit higher for this job because of the quality that you provide, where I'm going back and being like, bill me more, which is pretty unheard of too.
Mhm.
Um,
cool. Yeah.
but yeah, that's probably the thing
Okay.
we do. I'll definitely like buy them lunch on the next job site or something like that, something to take care of them a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. I mean, then just like making sure that they also continue working with you
Yeah,
and
and
basically
there's
giving thanks in that way. Yeah.
yeah,
All
no,
right.
yeah, definitely awesome.
There's a question in the Q&A section as well. Bob wants to know with retention, how do you deal with seasonality? He's saying that when the slow months hit, um,
Uh,
they tend to
I
lose
always
people.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna happen, right? Because like there's just always gonna be seasons in the industry. A lot of what the AV industry is definitely corporate America driven, and like during the summer months, obviously, like a lot of corporate America goes on their vacations. They do things where they're just not around too much. I always like to set the precedent with my guys and be like, hey, this is the time. This is money making season, so like make sure you put it away for those rainy days because rainy days do come, and just helping them guide them from like that aspect. I mean. I would love we do a good job staying pretty busy throughout the year, but obviously it does shift from like, different times where like
Mm,
today I think we have like 13 events going on today where, in January it might be two events a day or something like that.
mm,
Um it's just kind of again just being transparent, open playbook, and just being honest with them, being like these are the seasons like that we really really operate heavy in for these months. Like make sure you're putting your stuff away or like finding other some other opportunity during these times to like go do your thing. But we'll be back in this time frame hopefully, and if we do have something that pops up, we'll obviously keep you in mind for everything. But there's really just no way to fight the seasons. It's always going to be there in my opinion, and
yeah. Gotcha. I mean, we see the same thing as a software company in this space, so it's not like I think it's like an issue we have across the board. So,
yeah,
but yeah,
exactly.
I hope that helps here, Bob. We also have Marcel asking from your experience, Sebastian, what are the most common causes for freelancers to make mistakes during show days? And how does your company deal with problems during the show, or even the probability something goes wrong during show days? So this question is related to freelancers.
So I guess this goes a little bit into what I was saying is like realizing that we're in an imperfect world and having like a flexible option to it. Um, what would I say? Most common causes for your freelancers make mistakes. A lot of it is, I mean, if we could just create like a code of conduct with our guys just so that they know the proper practices if something does go wrong and they just know the streams of communication that they need to take, that's important too. Making sure that you do, like, I sometimes I like throwing extra people on jobs just so I can have like a Swiss Army knife that I can just throw at different problems to kind of address everything. Being flexible that way and just, having another option that way. Problems could be learning experiences, and hopefully, like people gain something from it. So it's, addressing the problem and properly handling it from there, but just talking about them afterwards about, hey, so this is what happened this time. How do we move like forward, or this is what you should do next time in this thing, and how we can guide them through it. It's, educating and uplifting is another huge thing when it comes to that too.
Mm.
As far as like the most common problems that we've seen, tough. I mean, tardiness. Like it's just trying to like show up on time. That's another thing when I was talking about like the things that drive me crazy are the things that are within our control. Like it's so easy to show up on time or even early to jobs, and that's something that we are have the ability to do. There's other things that are just completely out of our control, and that's okay. You have to recognize that they're out of our control. But if we can just be in control of the things that we have the ability to be in control of, that is a huge thing. So just preaching that to everybody is, massive for us. And yeah, going from there. I hope I answered that for you, good Marcel.
Awesome. I do believe that was
Hmm.
pretty good here. Jeff is also saying, I think this is in relation to the question that Bob had asked about seasonality. January to March is their slower season. During those months,
Yep.
they host 3 to 5 lunch and learn sessions, which I've actually come across like much more recently. I've seen this idea pop up
Yeah.
quite a bit.
No,
Um,
I love that. Using the time to train and, educate people during those slow times is incredibly important. Also, too, like like you're saying, just kind of bringing them into like the shops or even like some of our other clients where we'll send guys so they properly know what case or what gear goes in what cases and what to look out for when they're on job sites too, and just connecting them that way, I think is very important. So love that idea, Jeff.
yeah. Yeah, so yeah, getting hands on with the gear, could be like a Taco Tuesday during that time that you maybe do a little bit more like a lunch and learn or whatever it might
Yeah, a
be.
little team
Um,
building.
Everyone
Yeah,
loves free food, Jeff is saying. Yeah,
Amen.
that's yeah, amen. I think maybe that's the theme of today. Lead with food.
Yeah.
Center your freelancer learning and then retention around like just giving free food. It would work on me.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's why
hopefully,
for all of our training opportunities, we usually cater it with some type of food, and yeah, it does go a long way, I think too. And then
good
just
stuff.
really
Okay.
get to create a community then, and that's what we really want to do, right? It's just gonna, constantly grow this and create a good name for the AV world and build
Mm.
that way, one day at a time.
Good stuff. Like that last question I want to ask is for you, Sebastian, and I want to like encourage the chat to do that too. What are kind of like some of the biggest mistakes you see, your competitors and other companies do that push freelancers away, even when the pay might be good? Like, why do maybe people come from other businesses to you and want to work for you in the first place? What are some horror stories?
So, I mean, I've heard some horror stories too. To be quite frankly, I really don't focus too much on what are, I guess, competition dues. I don't view it as
Yeah,
competition. I feel like when you get to a certain level, I was talking with this gentleman from Lang. I don't know, are you guys familiar with Lang?
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I was talking with this gentleman from Lang, and he said people they compete at the bottom and collaborate at the top, and that's really like I want to be. I want to be in a collaboration sphere. So we really don't focus too much on what our competitors are doing. As crazy as it sounds, it's like, hey, we've
Hmm.
been doing this for a long time, and we have our standards. Um, let's just preach that and not focus on anything else. Like it just kind of keeps the blinders on of what we're trying to achieve from the industry. That kind of goes a long way for us too. And yeah, it's tough to say. Like we have heard like crappy situations that have happened from other people, but we just don't focus on it too much. If we just focus on serving and doing everything that we're supposed to do the right way, I feel like good just comes from it. So it's
Gotcha.
kind of crazy. I know people do like obviously they want to track like the other companies and other markets and like how they're going about their business and hearing things that way. And I would rather just like focus on like what we're doing and making sure what we're doing is the right way to do things. And I think that goes a long way for us.
Yeah, yeah. Adam's also saying well said here, and I think that's bit of a different situation than what we sometimes see like on our end as a software
Yeah.
manufacturer. But I think that's also something that I've had to learn over the last. I mean, I've been in this since for 11 years now.
Yeah.
It's not really
Definitely been
competition and
different,
more
guys. Yeah.
collaboration. Yeah. But again,
Yeah.
different sides of the industry.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, if you have any other questions about like retention of talent or attracting it in the first place, good time now to post it into the chat while we're still on the topic. But I do think it might be good to start winding down here and jump into one of our last sections, Prav. What do you think?
Yes. We'll just give them maybe a couple of seconds to see if any questions pop up.
Yeah, sounds good. Let's maybe do that. Have a little bit of awkward silence, and then we'll move on.
It's all right. Yeah, we've had some fun here too. I feel like there's been some really good conversations and
Yeah, I
really
like it too today.
engagement. Yeah.
It's really sweet seeing everybody post their own ideas into it.
Yeah.
Um,
Does Rentman have
Okay,
any other webinars like this coming up?
we sure do.
yeah, we sure do. We have one. So we have one actually happening. Well, I think on the 26th there's one happening where we're going to be talking to some folks from the UK. I think there it's going to be a little bit more about yeah, like old tech versus new tech, like basically like what are you doing to like get rid of some of your old processes and implement new ones. That's going to be cool. It's going to be with Paul from Avcom. They're out of Dublin, Ireland, I believe. Very
Interesting.
yeah, definitely encourage everybody to join as well for that one. It's going to be super interesting. They have some like really good flows from what I've seen.
Oh, cool.
Um, and then yeah, a couple of other like German and French ones. If you're familiar with those languages, you can join that. Obviously, if not, then maybe for language training.
We do a
Uh,
lot of business with the French, so I need to start learning a little bit more French.
so we could do that. But we have like one in that is more friendly towards like North American time zones happening every quarter. And we'll be communicating about that. Still figuring out like what we want to talk about. But yeah, let's maybe jump into one of our last sections here.
Yes. So I think we've covered a lot of ground. We spoke about the talent shift in the market, and then we're also talking about the importance of culture fit. So I think we've had a good session. Um, a few more questions that I have here is let's say you have freelancers who confirm and then ghost you after the confirmation. How do you typically deal with that?
Oh, you got to kind of feel it out, right? I like always having a backup plan, staying flexible in place. But there comes to a certain time, depends how far out we're talking the job is. As you start getting down, if we're like 3, 4 days out and I'm not hearing from you at this point, I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna take this person off of it, and just put another person in their place that is actually communicating with him. We've had, it's happened before. We usually try to, sometimes we'll overstaff jobs a little bit too. Like I'll put an extra 1 or 2 people on it because, you have to account for those people that just might be no call, no show. Like it's happened before. So just, yeah, being flexible that way with the pool of people that we do have as well. It is a bit, I don't want to say easy for us, but we have a lot of resources to be like, hey, they didn't show up. What are you doing today? Can you make it over here? And, by this time. And,
Yeah,
have bailed them out there too. And just kind of gauging with the client, just, um, addressing it with them, being like, we're terribly sorry. This is, this is what happened. We take full responsibility for that, making it up on some type of billing aspect and just kind of seeing what they need to get their job done at the end of the day. And kind of just going from there. It's a bit
gotcha.
difficult because there's, it's something that's unpredicted, but just having backup plans in place, I think, is the best bet.
Yeah, like always assuming that the
As
worst
long as
might
you have our
happen
resources,
and prepping
have to be
yourself
prepared
that
for
way.
it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Which I mean, on your end, like with the massive base that you guys have,
It's help.
might be a
It
little
does
bit
help,
easier.
yeah.
That definitely
Yeah.
helps with that. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so summarizing this session today, what, in your opinion, would be like key takeaways, something that you'd advise companies to start doing or maybe even stop doing, something that might be hurting them?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just collaborating a little bit more within the community, which is great, and seeing all like this engagement of
Mhm.
people who are just looking to kind of learn from other people in the industry. I think it's super valuable and just, creating the right community around us. Um, just being an open playbook for your freelancers and contractors and just having those proper means of communication, the right systems in place for them to succeed, and just giving all the tools that you can to somebody too. We want to, like I said, I keep saying uplift. We want to constantly just be uplifting, not just your people too, everyone around you. If I can help everybody just get to the levels, that's an amazing thing. And, so if we could really, really do that for our people, let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah. So focusing on education, focusing on clear communication.
Yep.
And yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Anything that you really think that you see still a lot that people should really stop doing? I think like net 90 was one thing that you said, like that might be
Pay your
something.
people as fast as you can. Sometimes we always
Yeah.
say here it's our job to wait on money, not theirs. So like just pay your people as fast as you can. That goes a long way for everybody. Just making sure that they're showing up at the proper times, right? Just they know where to go, and giving them all the information that they have is incredibly important. But yeah, do your job that you're supposed to do for them.
Good stuff. Yeah, definitely agree on that point. Um, I think PJ asked in the chat, what's the most above and beyond thing a freelancer has ever done to save a show for you? I think Adam posted and I had a freelancer help
Oh
back up our
man.
26-foot truck at a country club that was a really tight squeeze between trees and expensive cars down a hill. Saved us pushing all our gear up that hill in the grass. That sounds horrible to me. It feels like
Yeah.
if you wanted to torture me, you would make me do that.
Yeah, I've seen it too. We've done stuff on the National Mall too, which is down here in DC. It's very big, so like trying to get stuff there has been a pain. So we've definitely had some long pushes before too, and um, having somebody do that's awesome, Adam. I love hearing that.
Yeah,
It
good
makes it a
stuff.
lot easier too.
Yeah,
I
looks
I
like you're working
I,
with some cool people there.
I have so many people that have done try to go above and beyond. It just I've had people like honestly like realize they got cut, but like they're about an hour left on the job and they want to help their other guys out because I want to create like a team as well. Like I don't want you just feel like you're working for me. Like you're working alongside these other people. They stay for free sometimes. Um,
Wow.
bail people out and cover them just to make sure that the job gets done properly. Then like if kind of going up to clients and project managers and just noticing things for them and not like doing it in an overstepping way, but just noticing, hey, I see this cable run over here that we don't have cable ramps for. Looking out for the client at the end of the day is a big thing. um I could probably make like a whole novel of like good things that my guys have done on job sites.
Like Sebastian May's freelancer memoirs.
Yeah. There'll be a
Yeah,
bunch of nightmares in there as well, too.
maybe to start things off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good stuff. Um, all right. Yeah, I think some really good conversations today. I think yeah, we've covered a lot of ground today. Some focus on like what has shifted since the pandemic. How to build on-site culture, but also company culture. We also talked about some of the roadblocks that I think we see a lot. Like, I mean, we have thousands of users, so we have a lot of conversations with a lot of people in a lot of different countries. Um, but I think for now, a few minutes left here, but maybe we're going to open the floor now to the Q&A that we do at the end. If there's anything for the people attending today that hasn't been asked that you want to throw at Sebastian, now's the time. Open that chat, add your questions or ideas in, and let us know. We'll give it a few minutes to let everybody ask some questions, and then I think we're good for today. So yeah, ask your questions, please. Now's the time.
Let's do it.
I mean, it was the time before as well already, but now it's the official Q&A, I guess.
Yeah. Keep an eye out down here.
You know what I think what we're also going to do is we're also going to create maybe a little blog post about like everything that we've learned today. Prav, what do you think? Just like
that'll be interesting.
Yeah. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, maybe mention your name in there as well, like some Rentman MayCo advice. I think that would that'd be pretty sweet.
I love it. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah,
Definitely
we'll
welcome it. Will you guys be at some of the conferences coming up? I know I'll be at NAB and Infocom as well.
Yeah, we're doing NAB. Mm-hmm. We're doing NAB. We're doing Infocom. We also have some, by the way, for everybody joining right now, we also have some community events happening at both times. So if you're going to NAB, if you just look for Rentman NAB community event, or if you go to our website, you can find it there. You can join. It's just beers on us, basically, which, again, free food, free beer. Kind of the same, right? So
say no more. I'll be there.
So definitely join us. We'll be at InfoCom, some European shows as well, and then LDI at the end of the year. So that's our plan. Okay, looks like I think we answered everybody's questions already. Then I think let's just PJ saying thank you. Good stuff. Then thanks everybody for joining. We'll send that recording to your inbox very soon if you want to share it with anybody, maybe with your freelancers. So also some ideas that you can share with your team. We also have a new industry report, by the way, that you can check out on our website. I don't know if it's live yet, but like keep your eyes out there for our latest industry report 2026. We do that every year. There's somebody asking, actually, last question. Are there any, Kaylin is asking, are there any common online platforms you all use for networking with freelancers? Or networking for freelancers?
Yeah, not so much. I can't really think of any off the top of my head that we use. Like I said, most of ours is word of mouth and referral based, and then just create a community that way. But if you do find any that you might use, we'd definitely be interested in looking into them and seeing if you've had success in that too.
Yeah, maybe also throwing it at the chat if there's anybody else who uses any sort of like online platforms. I mean, I've come across some on social media, but again,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. All right. Amazing. All right, good stuff. I think let's end it here. We've used up all of our time for today. Sebastian, thank you so much for joining. Really appreciate you taking the time. I think we might have you on for a different session in the future again. Appreciate you making the time, answering all those questions. And check out our website for the industry report. Check out Rentman if you're not familiar with it yet. And if people want to know more about MayCo, where can they find information?
Yeah, you can go to MayCo.live as our website, find out some more information, or if you want to reach out to me, my email is Sebastian May at MayCo.live. Follow me on LinkedIn, or we'd love to continue this community growth and just talk more about the industry, and happy to help anywhere we can.
Sounds good. Prav, anything you want to add?
Thank you, everybody, for joining. Hope we can keep doing more sessions like these in the future. I think we have a few coming up, and then we're also doing another one specifically for North America next quarter, I believe. So we'll keep you guys posted.
Beautiful.
Good stuff. All right, then let's leave it with that. Sebastian, thank you. Prav, thank you. Everybody attending, thank you. Thanks for engaging. We'll speak to you soon. Yeah. See you around.
Beautiful. See you guys.